Hello ladies, this one is specific for you, and particularly in this high inflation market happening in the US, I've been looking for ways to save on everyday necessities, and menstrual products are definitely one of those if you are a lady. But I didn't want to shell out a bunch of money to brands like Thinx, so I researched online and I came across this particular one on Amazon. It had a bunch of positive reviews, so I decided to check it out. So in this video, I'm going to give you the unboxing, my personal experience using them for the past few months, some maintenance tips, as well as answer the question of, will this truly replace your disposable pads or tampons? So starting off with the unboxing, I chose the version with a pack of 3. They do only come in the color black, which is perfectly fine in my opinion. In terms of sizing, they have a wide range of size, and I think they do run true to size, so just pick the one that you would normally pick. And they only come in this brief design. I know other brands like Thinx have other designs, but this brief design definitely allows it to absorb a lot more. That way you don't have to change it so often, so personally I don't mind. When I first took them out brand new, I did notice there were some loose threads. Not a huge deal in my opinion, as long as it didn't affect the actual structural integrity, which they didn't. The overall stitching is pretty bare bones. You can clearly tell where the absorbent area is because it's much thicker, and you can see that it covers starting from the very front to the very back, which I like to see. Sometimes they end kind of midway through the front, which I don't like. You can tell that the sides are much thinner so that it doesn't feel like a heavy weighted diaper when you're wearing it. So of course the main pros of buying these types of period panties is that you don't have to worry about bringing, extra disposable pads, tampons, menstrual cups, or what have you. You just wear it and then you know that it will keep you covered. It does feel in general like regular underpants, so don't feel like you're wearing something extra thick or something foreign. As a pad user, I am happy to report that I can wear this like normal underwear, so under a little bit tighter clothing without feeling that extra thickness. So those were the advantages coming into purchasing these panties, and I have to say from my experience that definitely held true. So talking about my experience of using these for the past 5 months, originally I was very impressed at how much it could absorb. So I used it for overnight during my heaviest flow and I didn't experience any kind of leakage whatsoever. Really build my confidence from that. Afterwards, the next morning I would just wash them. But then I found that if I wanted to continue to use these throughout the week of my period, it became kind of a hassle to clean them because it's best to really wash them by hand right away, or at least soak them, apply some vinegar so it takes care of any odors. But while it can last me through the night, during the day I would want to change it a few times, especially on heavier flow days or days when it's really light and I don't want the blood to be caked into the underwear. So then I would have to make a little bit of time to either hand wash them or at least soak them and then put them in the machine wash, and then they do need to hang dry. You can't you can machine dry them, but then you'll greatly reduce its lifespan. There's no worry about needing to wash this on its own. You can wash it with your other laundry, but of course if you're washing it multiple times a week, even multiple times a day, most likely you'll be doing machine washes of this alone, which I found it to be a little bit of a hassle, and it's definitely not something I would want to do if I were traveling. Of course, compared to just disposable products where you just use them and just throw them away and replace it with a new one. And then talking about using them during the day, especially on heavy flow days, it's not that it feels like wet like a diaper or anything, but you definitely don't feel particularly dry either. So I think my experience with the washing is applicable to all period panties, but my experience with it feeling a little bit on the damp side, I guess. It might be specific to the absorbency level of these particular panties. And I'm somebody who is pretty active, so I'm still exercising on my period. And so I found that these were just a little bit too uncomfortable to be wearing when I'm exercising. If I am just sitting or doing some very light tasks, these are okay to wear throughout the day. But on those heavy flow days when I'm trying to exercise, I really don't like wearing these. So after using these multiple times for the past few months, I would say my strategy has kind of changed to using these primarily for the high flow environments or the days preceding my expectation of my first day of my period, so that I don't ruin any underwear, and particularly use these overnight so then first thing in the morning I can just go ahead and soak them and then toss them into the machine washer. And then for more exercise days and days that are a lot lighter, I would actually still be using my disposable pads in conjunction with these kind of lined waterproof underwear, which I've reviewed in the past. Check out my video on that if you guys are interested. But then talking about another common question I get is, what about the smell? So I was definitely concerned about this, but wearing them throughout the day, I don't smell it if I'm obviously wearing, pants on or it's fully covered. When I do go use the restroom and it is exposed, then yes, I definitely do have that smell. So I don't know how that compares to Thinx, but they definitely are noticeable when they are exposed. And then after washing them, and I do apply the vinegar to help with that smell, if I were to press my nose up against the cleaned underwear, I can definitely still smell residues of a period. So that's just been my experience. It doesn't particularly bother me at this moment, but maybe over time that might change if the odor becomes stronger as I use it more. But so far, after about 5 months, it's still okay. You don't smell it unless you press your nose up against it. Now let's talk about the maintenance schedule and the break-even point, where buying these will make you or save you more money than buying the disposable versions. So you do have to understand these won't last forever. The material will eventually be thinned out and the absorbency capability will decrease. But of course, there are ways to extend the longevity, which include hand washing as much as possible, or at least soaking them in a mixture of vinegar and light detergent before washing. Personally, I like to soak it and then do a machine wash and hang dry. That way it kind of saves me time, but you definitely don't want to be machine drying these. So here's a simple break-even calculation for my use case. So these effectively replace the overnight size 5 maxi pads, and these go for about $10 for a pack of 36 count. Every month I use about 3 of these normally, so over a course of a year I would use up $10 of this 36 count pack. And the 3-pack of these period underwear is $30. So to break even, I would have to be using these period underwear to replace those overnight pads for a minimum of 3 years. So here's another calculation based on best case scenario using pads. So let's say again you're using 3 of these size 5 overnight pads a month, and then you also supplement it with 9 of these kind of lighter flow size 4 always pads, which also go for about $10 for a pack of 50. And so doing the math out here, once again, the cost of these period underwear for 3 of these is $30. So to break even, you would need to be using these for at least 11 months, which is actually not too bad. Of course, if you're a tampon user or something else, these numbers can be a lot different, so you just have to do the numbers yourself. And of course, pricing varies by region as well, and with the inflation costs, you might actually be saving a lot more, because I would assume that these disposable products will also take the price hike year after year. So in conclusion, I think these are a good alternative to Thinx. They do what they have been advertised to do, and I don't regret buying these at all. I think with buying any kind of period underwear, you just have to understand the cleaning required to maintain these, and if you're okay with the black color and the brief design, then I think these are a great alternative to Thinx. Again, I'll have the product information in the description.